Well, g'day flatties and globe defenders, it's Critical Think from Down Under. In my last video I debunked Gary Benga's assertion that as you zoom out, ships would disappear bottom up. In my analysis I took a partially zoomed out photo and compared it with one that was zoomed in. I did digitally zoom on the partially zoomed out photo to make it bigger, but the intent of that exercise was to illustrate that it's not the bottom which disappears first, but everything loses resolution at an equal rate. However, rather than trying to understand what I did, Gary Benga and a lot of flat earthers followed him criticised me because I did not play Gary's video, which is a video of my video. I did not play it to the end where it's fully zoomed out. Well, here you can see that it's fully zoomed out. And looking at this, Gary claims that those ships disappeared bottom up. Now, I can't even begin to say how ridiculous this is. I mean, if a globe defender had produced an image like this and said, see, those ships are obscured bottom up, we would be laughed out of the room. But apparently that's okay for a flat earther to do this. Now you can see next to no detail on this, but Gary sees there in that picture, he sees ships that are obscured bottom up, when in fact you can see very little. So how do we try and work this out? Whether Gary's, what he's seeing in that picture, whether it is verifiable or not, because Gary just saying that, and Brian's logic says that, and other flat earthers, they are just saying that because it suits them. They can just look at that. There's nothing to see there, but they can look at it and say, that looks like the bottom is disappeared to me. So how do we do this? Well, with my previous analysis, either flat earthers didn't take the time to look at what I was saying, or they had trouble understanding it. So I'm going to have to try and dumb it down just a little bit more so that I can make my point that the ship does not disappear bottom up as you zoom out. It loses resolution over the whole picture, not just the bottom of the ship. So instead of actually looking at what I tried to do, Gary and other flat earthers are focused entirely on the fact that I did not play the rest of his video. So this is, as usual, a distraction and a misdirection from the true nature of my debunk. The first thing in my debunk was that this is not an example of a ship that's disappeared bottom up. And my second part of the debunk is it doesn't disappear bottom up anyway. So that's misdirection and sleight of hand. Even Travis would agree with me on that.
Yeah, I think again what we're seeing here is misdirection and sleight of hand.
So this is the end of Gary's video, and apparently we're supposed to make something out of that you can see from that apparently that the bottom of those ships are missing. Here's some of the comments that Gary's been harping on. He's calling me dishonest because I didn't play his video to the end. Well, we'll do that in this video. So Gary, I'm looking forward to your retraction of that. And he's harping on that the red bottom becomes unresolvable, when in fact the red just disappears from the whole picture. Same. I'll let you read the rest of that. So then, according to Gary and other flat earthers, the picture on the top is equivalent to the picture on the bottom. Now, only a flat earther would be able to make that conclusion. The rest of us who have a fully functional brain are able to tell that the picture on the top is not at all similar to the picture on the bottom. And the picture on the top could never be an explanation for the picture on the bottom. But there you go. We seem to have lost track of that in all the arguing about whether the red bottom of the ship is disappearing or not. So just for the rest of this analysis, just to keep this on track a bit, I've put together some ships there that will continually play in the top there, just so that we can be reminded of what the real nature of ships disappearing bottom up look like. Because all this arguing about the red on the bottom of the ship seems to have misdirected and distracted from the real thing. So let's play some of the rest of Gary's video.
So pay attention as I start the video to the bottom.
So there you'll notice that he says, pay attention to the bottom. This is a clear case of misdirection and sleight of hand. It's trying to direct our focus to the bottom and ignore everything else in the picture. I think Travis explains this very well.
Yeah, I think again what we're seeing here is misdirection and sleight of hand. So because what Gary Wybanga does is he criticizes an observation from the surface of the water, remember? And he points out that something disappears on that. So he's taking your focus away from the crane. He's moving the person who's watching this video, who's not thinking, he's moving the focus away from the crane to something else. It's misdirection. Yeah.
That's very well explained, Travis. I'm surprised. Right. We'll move on with some more of Gary's video.
As you can see, it's getting harder and harder to resolve the red portion. In fact, I can't see it anymore.
I'll just stop that there because Gary said at that point he can't see it anymore. So let's take a screenshot of that and we'll bring that up. Right, so there's the screenshot. We'll zoom in. And Gary said the red part at the bottom of the ship is not there. And that's true, it's not. But so is the red part from everything else. There was red on the tops of these cranes. It's all gone too. Now, just because the red has disappeared doesn't mean the bottom of the ship has disappeared. In fact, I can still see the gap under the pier there. It's showing darker there. The bottom of the ship is right there. I can still see it. See this ship over here? These ships that are not red on the bottom, you can still clearly see this one down to the waterline. So, Gary, no, the bottom has not disappeared, and this is evidence, Gary. This is what you call evidence. It's simply that the red has faded away, and you've mistaken that. You've seen what you want to see and not what's really there. You're trying to focus everybody's attention, misdirect it to the red being missing. At the same time, nobody's supposed to notice that there's no red in any of the rest of the picture. So that's that bit. We'll continue on. First, before we do that, I just want to divert back to some other pictures I've taken. So we go back to my PowerPoint. And I've gone out on another day and I've picked a different ship which has red on the bottom. So this, I've taken still shots instead of a movie, because still shots give you better focus, better colour, and there's no washing out of the colours so much. So as we zoom out, you can still see the red. And we've zoomed out this far. Let's compare it to Gary's picture where he said there's no more ship. So we try and get the same field of view on that. That's very similar, but we'll go one more just to make sure. So there's a wider field of view than what Gary's showing. He thinks the bottom is missing there. So if we go to our wider field of view, if you look closely, you can still see the red on the bottom of that ship. So you can actually still see red in all areas of that picture. So I'll bring that picture up. I think it's this one. There, that's the picture. And we'll zoom in on that. As you can clearly see that the red portion is still there. Everything is pretty much good. You can see everything. And that's a similar zoom to the other one where Gary said you could not see the bottom. So let's continue on playing the rest of Gary's movie, which is my movie, and we'll play it to the end.
And I can still see the dock, but it's just about out of sight now. I can still see the tops of everything. Bottom disappearance is just a matter of the resolution ability of the eyes. When the angles become narrow and the information compressed into a small area, and they all blend in together because of the Rayleigh criterion effects. It's that simple.
Right, again, we can take a screenshot and we'll bring that up. And we'll zoom in on this. And Gary says that you can see that the bottom of the ship is missing, but really you can see bugger all there. In fact, it's even very difficult to see where our ship is. But this ship over here that's white on the top and dark on the bottom, you can still see the bottom of that. You can't see any red anywhere. You can see that, yes, if you only because you know that there's some ships there that you can make out. But I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say that the bottom is definitely missing. There's not enough information in that photograph. So again, I'll go to a photograph that that I took from the another day. And that's my fully zoomed out one. And, well, not quite fully zoomed out, just a minute. You can still see the bottom of the ship there. That one here, zoomed out further away, which is a wider angle of view than what the human eye sees. So it's smaller than what you would see with your eye. But we'll take a look at the picture itself and have a look at this zoomed in. So I don't remember where the ship was. I think it's over here. That's the ship there. So you can hardly see that there's a ship. You can hardly see anything. That one there has white writing on the side. You can see it. This ship over here has dark on the bottom. You can still see the bottom of it. There's the top of it. So the top of that crane is very difficult. It is almost gone, but not quite. Again, there's not really much detail. I can still see the pier there and the dark area underneath where the pylons are for the pier. So I don't think it's okay to conclude that there's bottom missing there, even when it's fully zoomed out. So that's it. I'm sure, Gary, that you won't give up here, even though I've just destroyed this whole idea. First of all, that this has anything to do with ships disappear bottom up. And second of all, the bottom doesn't disappear when you zoom out. So I know you won't give up, Gary, and here's something else to finish with.
That's it. Oh, I see. Running away, eh? You yellow bastards! Come back here and take what's coming to you! I'll bite your legs off!